So my name is Alexis Tavares. I'm 26 years old and I live and was born and raised here in Calgary, Alberta. I grew up pretty happy. I had a really good home life and I'm very lucky that I'm very well supported by my immediate family and my extended family as well. But especially from the time that I was young, I started struggling with mental health issues. Some of it was related to medical advocacy because as I grew up, I learned that I had a couple of medical disorders, one being polycystic ovarian syndrome, another being that I had a pituitary adenoma, and not feeling in control of these things, among not feeling in control of lots of other things in my life, led to me really struggling mentally and having a really hard time struggling, especially with depression and feeling like my life wasn't worth very much or that I wasn't worth very much as a person because I didn't have control over these things. I was probably about 12 years old the first time I really started feeling badly about myself and not feeling like I was a valid person. And that just got worse as I got older and older. As I started going through school, I had always been a star student. So anytime that I wasn't doing as well as I thought I should be, or I made a mistake, I started to wrap the idea of how well I was doing in school, because that was something I felt like I could control. That started to become a part of my identity. And when that part of my identity wasn't something I could control, or it wasn't the way I wanted it to be, it meant that my self-image and my self-esteem would plummet. And so by the time that I was around 15 or 16, I started having suicidal thoughts and suicidal ideations. And I really started to struggle then. And that's when I got a formal diagnosis after it culminated in an attempt. There's definitely a stigma, I think, around therapy, and that therapy is where bad people go, or where weak people go. And if you need therapy, you're lesser, or it's a cheating way out almost. But I quickly learned, when I met with therapists, especially when I found therapists who were the right fit for me, that it became a healthy method of coping with things that I was struggling with. Instead of doing harmful behaviors or indulging in harmful thoughts, it became a healthy way to process and deal with traumatic things. The last time I'd been through therapy was when I was a student in university, and so I had easy access to mental health options because those are a part of going to school. But when I graduated and was no longer a student, I didn't really know where to go anymore or what to do. And I quickly hit sort of a period in my life where I was going through a lot of very difficult things to handle. Once again, my life was feeling like it was outside of my control, and I didn't feel like I had a good way of coping with things. And after reaching out to several doctors, I wasn't going anywhere. I didn't have a referral. I didn't have anybody to talk to, and I was really struggling. And I ended up confiding into a friend some of the negative thoughts and feelings I was having and how my suicidal ideation had returned. And she said, well, hey, I've also been going through a really tough time. And I went to the Calgary Counselling Centre and they got back to me right away, and it was really helpful. So I figured, okay, well, I guess it doesn't hurt to send out a message. So I went to the website, I filled out an online form, and within, I want to say 2 or 3 business days, someone had reached back out. And I think that for me was really surprising because that had never been an experience that I'd had before. I wasn't able to get through someone through a family doctor or through asking around. So it was kind of nice that I went somewhere and someone was willing to at least speak with me or figure out what I needed to do right away. Mm-hmm. Mental health is always treated like this bad and dirty thing. It's something you should hide in your workplace, or it's something that you should hide when you go to school. It's something you should be ashamed of and not talk to other people about. But I think counseling and just being honest with myself about how I feel and what's going on in my brain and in my body, it makes me feel better, and it makes me feel empowered that yes, I'm a person who goes to work and has a career and has hobbies and interests and things, but I'm not a perfect person, and that doesn't make me a bad person. It just makes me a person. It gave me a new outlook on the way that like I interact with other people, including like my support systems. I was really guilty of like not reaching out and asking for help. But I found like because I asked for help from a friend, that's how I ended up meeting Sarah. And because I asked for Sarah for help, I ended up developing tools and getting access to tools to help myself. So like a big part of it for me was just learning how to ask other people for help and learning that that's not a shameful thing or a bad thing. And now I feel a lot safer going forward in the future that if I do need help with something, that I'm going to be able to ask for that help and I'm going to feel confident in asking for that help. I just do want to like say thank you to like what the Calgary Counselling Centre offered me, because I went to them as a last resort and it was what I needed and it was enough. And I'm really thankful that I had that opportunity, and I wish everyone could have that opportunity. I think especially in our society, mental health care is underfunded and underappreciated, but it really does a lot and impacts communities in a really good way. And I wish more people could see that.